Hey there, my name's Terry Rice, and this is The Signal brought to you by Fiverr. Today we're joined by Ryan Serhant, a real estate mogul and best-selling author. Known for $1 Million Listing New York, he's reshaped the industry with his sales expertise, innovative marketing, and high-performance mindset. And today he shares proven strategies for building a personal brand, closing big deals, and insights from his new book, Brand It Like Serhant, Stand Out from the Crowd, Build Your Following, and Earn More Money. So let's go ahead and get started. Ryan.
Yes.
You used to be a hand model.
Okay.
You're a good-looking dude, so can you unpack that? Like, how was that where you were focused back then?
Well, what an interesting way to get into this. I moved to New York City in 2006. I graduated college. I came here to do theater, and I didn't want a survival job, right? I had some savings. I did construction work when I was in college and stuff, and so I didn't want to have a survival job because I just knew that if I got a 9-to-5 or was bartending or waiting tables or something, that 10 years would go by and I'd still be doing that because you get used to the comfort of having a paycheck. And then that's how I pay my rent and everything. So I wanted to always put my back up against a financial wall. And that's never really changed, even to this day. Like my back is always up against a financial wall because I know that I'll just figure out a way to climb out of it. So I still had to make money, and theater you do when you first went to the city, you do for free. You do student films for NYU and stuff for free. You know, you do like free theater on the sidewalk just to try to be seen by people. And so one of the ways that I made money was, you take headshots, right? When you're an actor, then you send it out to agents and everything. And one of those headshots, I was going like this. Yeah. And her name was Danny of a company called Parts Models. And I just sent it out to everybody, right? You just throw everything out there. And she reached out. She's like, "Your hands are beautiful." I was like, "Who are you?" And that turned into an audition for AT&T to hold phones, which I wasn't going to do, but they're like, they'll pay you $150 an hour just to look at your hands. And I was like, dude, I'll do whatever for $150 an hour. I'll do more with my hands than that. And so I went there, and I don't have now they're a little bit marked up, but at the time I didn't have veins or like freckles or anything. So I think my hands were just large and androgynous, and I had skinny fingers from playing piano and guitar and stuff. And so I was able to hold a phone without it looking like stressed. So these phones are much bigger, but like the original phones, I could go like this without like a whole lot of stress in my metatarsals. And so anyway, I paid my rent with hand modeling for like a while, because it was hard to make money any other way, and then got into real estate from there.
Well, I love the hustle in general and just using what you have to get where you want to get. And it's funny, I was speaking at a conference a couple months ago for realtors about branding, and they were all like, "Hey, how do we build our brand like Ryan? Like how do we do that?" And I was like, I don't know. So
I know, you go to sellit.com and you work with one of our coaches. That's how we do it.
There you go. That's what we're here to get the answers to. So like, on your end, building your brand, like what was one of the most unexpected lessons that you learned along the way?
That it takes forever. Like it's not, there's very, very few people in the world who create instant awareness. It's really hard. Like one of the lessons for me was I got onto $1 Million Listing, right? Bravo, primetime cable TV, before there was streaming, right? 2012. My assumption was, oh, you get on TV and your life changes. Yeah. Like, boom, show just aired. Hold on, my phone's gonna break. It's gonna overheat. I have to get 10 new phone numbers. No one called, right? And even that, now it's even worse. I tell it to all of our agents and our cast on the Netflix show and everybody else. Like, it used to be that you had to hit people probably 10 times before they pay attention. Today, you have to hit them 100 because there's so much noise. And it's a business of attention. So at that time, that was a lesson that I learned, was like, wait a minute, but something's being done for me. I'm out there. And what I learned was, it's not enough to have the attention, you have to create the attention at the same time. And so what I worked on really, really hard, I think way better than anyone else that was on those shows with me at that time, was I knew the attention was out there, but I wasn't gonna rest on my laurels. I was gonna go and create more attention using it. Right? And build different things and do the books and do the social and put my name on buildings and be out there so that I could hit people in multiple different ways as part of the flywheel. Like I remember, meeting with one family early, I think it was like 2013. It was a mother, a father, and a 14-year-old. The 14-year-old knew me from Instagram, okay, which had just started at the time. The father knew me because I would go on CNBC and talk about markets, and the mother watched $1 Million Listing. So my content flywheel hit the entire family so that I could be the easy choice. But I didn't just sit back and say, oh, TV, here you go. Otherwise, I would not be here today.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot when people get featured in the media. They think that's it. It's like, no, you have to amplify that too, right? You're in the media for like a moment and then something else happens and it goes by. So if you don't actually do that where you're amplifying it, it's done. So on your end though, I mean, you're creating a lot of content, you've been doing it for years. And I think sometimes entrepreneurs, leaders, whoever, they want to do that too. Like my New Year's resolution is to do this. They go hard for like 3.5 weeks and they're exhausted. So how do you maintain that consistency, especially like since you've been doing it for so long?
Yeah. Macro goals. It's like losing weight. It's like going to the gym, right? It's like anything. Like you're not going to go to the gym for 3 weeks and then be like, I don't look like The Rock. Everything takes time. And so you set up realistic macro goals, and then you build in those micro wins, because the work that we do all day long is just the habits that we create. Like how do you wake up earlier, right? That's a habit. It's not really a goal. Your goal is to have more life, let's say. I want to have more waking out. Okay, well then you have to do X, Y, and Z to do that. And so I try to be spontaneous in terms of the pathway that we take to get wherever we go and allow life to happen, but we set very clear goals and then we do not negotiate with them. Like that's what that's my December. That's, we locked budget for total company today. Like these are our goals. However we get there, we get there. Anything can happen this year. Shit happens all the time, but we do not negotiate with these goals. You beat them or you exceed them, and that's it. So, if your goal is to lose weight, I want to lose 100 pounds, this month, or sorry, not this month, this year. Okay, so what do I have to do every month? I have to lose 8 pounds a month. Okay, so that's much more sustainable. What do I need to do to be able to get there every single day? Now I'm not going to quit after 3 weeks because I know that I've got this big arc that I'm reaching towards, and every step is a win, right? And then I also very much believe, and I'll send myself notes in the future and stuff about this, like, especially when you're an entrepreneur, especially when you're in sales, when you work for yourself, like your job is to fail, the bonus is the win. Like that's it. Your job is to fail. Like your job is to swing. That's it. If you win, great, you got your bonus. And it helps with mindset, and it helps with the mental roller coaster of the ups and downs of our businesses.
You strike me as someone who's very mindful as well. And you mentioned even writing letters to your future self. Do you mind unpacking that to an extent and how it's benefited you?
Yeah, I don't write full-on letters because I know future self would be annoyed by that. I'd be like, dude, Ryan of the past, you're so annoying. But like, for example, I just pulled this up. So January 1st, 2025, I posted this, but I wrote a note to myself, just saying, hey, I'm writing this on January 6th, 2024. I'm on the way back to New York City. I'm not sure where you'll be reading this, but I hope you're happy. I hope you feel confident. I hope the market didn't crash and that you held true to this year's word, momentum. You bet on yourself a long time ago, so I hope you kept up that trend this year. Failure is the job. Winning is the bonus for those who don't quit. Go big or go nowhere, right? Hope the year ended up well. So I'll send that to me in part two to help turn the positive and negative emotions into like real muscles that I can train, because this job can be such a roller coaster, like, especially in sales, right? You get a deal. Okay, let's go. I love this job. You lose 2 deals. I'm moving home. I hate this job. So how do you keep as many balls in the air as possible? And how do you also take loss and failure and anger and all that stuff and turn it into fuel? That's what those notes are for. So I have lots more notes in my calendar that are like, you're sitting on the couch right now, you're crying like a little bitch. You hate this guy, I hate everybody, this deal just died, you want to shut down the company, and I put it a month from today. Like if that just happened right now. Because I know in a month, I'm going to look at that invite and it's going to say open me. And I'm always nervous. I'm like, what was I feeling when I wrote this? Because I never remember. And I'm like, you're crying like, oh God, dude, why? What was wrong with me? Oh yeah. Oh, I fixed it. This too shall pass. Good things pass, bad things pass. It's just work. It's just the day. And it's not for me anymore the pursuit of the happiness, because I feel like that's also stressful. Like everyone talk about, you just be happy, just be happy. Like, how do I do that? It's the happiness of the pursuit and making sure that even the stressful moments and the budgeting and all the bullshit, I'm still actually like, I'd rather be doing that than not.
Yeah.
And there's a happiness to that pursuit that gets me to that win, whatever that big goal win might be, that I then break down into those micro habits every single day. Full circle.
Yeah. That's how you go from a hand model to where you're at now. So, I dig in.
Yeah, man.
And I want to dig into your book, which is right behind us, Branded Like Serhant. And it breaks down branding into 3 phases. I'm going to check my notes here. Self-discovery, content creation, and amplification. So do you mind walking through that process and sharing how that has helped you build your brand as well?
Yeah. The brand is the product now. So another lesson I learned, and I'm a realtor, right? Like sell real estate because I didn't want to hand model anymore. And I couldn't make money acting, so I got my real estate license. And if I could help people rent apartments in Murray Hill and Crown Heights, then I could get paid a small commission for busting my butt, and I'd be able to stay in New York City. If I could make $2,000 a month in 2008, that was gold for me, right? I deal with taxes later, whatever. I need to live. And so what I realized pretty quickly was it used to be for most businesses and most salespeople for sure, that the product was like their skill set. Man, that person is an incredible salesperson, or they have the best properties, right? That's their product. That's why they get as much business as they do. And all of that changed with this thing, right? It all changed. The product went from the skill set to the attention, and it became the inverse. So where it was skill set meets attention for the skill set, you can have a huge career. Today, for us, it's the attention for the skill set. You match that with skill set, and then there you go. And so how do I do that? I'm 24 in New York City. No one knows me. I didn't go to these schools. I'm not from here. I don't no money. So I have to be future me. So I would write down 1 year from today, this is the person I'm going to be, and make it realistic, right? And then I'd add like 10% just to push myself.
Yeah.
And then you do that through those 3 phases you just talked about, but to simplify them, you first dive into that core identity. Like so many people, so much of us, we focus on the outside all the time. What does that person think of us? What this is what's going on outside, without focusing really on like, what do I want? Like what would make me happy? Who am I? And there's different exercises you can do for that. Like I could ask anyone in this room, hey, define me without using my name. And they'd say, I don't know, tall, white, really gray hair, from TV, thinks he's funnier than he actually is, does real estate. Like that would kind of probably be what most people say, right?
Oh, I think you're funny, but go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So like those, and being really, really, really honest with your core identity so you can understand who is that person that is leaving your fingertips when you type? Who's that person that's leaving your lips when you talk? Who's that person that's making eye contact or not making eye contact? Like when I did that exercise, it talked about my hair, talked about my height, and said, I look at the ground when I walk. It's like, wait, no, I'm Ryan. I do real estate. What do you mean? Literally, those are the things you think about? You didn't think about my profession. You didn't think about what I do. You went straight to, I'm the guy who looks at the ground when I walk. Like, he's like, yeah, man, because you are. I'm like, holy, I had no idea. I had no idea that was part of my core identity for the outside world. And there's certain things that I wasn't going to change. I don't want to dye my hair anymore. It is what it is. It's going to make me look older. People will think I'm more senior. Great. Can't change my height, but I wonder why I look at the ground when I walk. Oh, maybe it's because I had rash acne for 20 years. And when I'd make eye contact with people, their eyes would move around my face, and it embarrassed me growing up. And so I just learned to walk with my eyes down, and I never knew that that's why I did it. All right, you know what? I can change that. And that core identity, when it leaves your lips or leaves your fingertips, turns into the perception that the world then has of you or your product, that then when you leave the room or leave the chat or leave your phone, turns into the reputation as people are talking about you behind your back or sharing it with friends. And over time, and we said it doesn't happen overnight, over time that turns into brand, right? That's that core identity. So once you have that core identity, then you can create the consistency of content. And you have to make a decision. I think a lot of people do what you said, which is they go hard everywhere for 3.5 weeks, and then it doesn't work. And they're like, screw this. There is simplification and sophistication, right? So what is your channel? What is your avenue? And we say this to all of our students who are in sellit.com, and there's 40,000 of them around the world. Like, you don't have to dance. You also don't have to write. You don't have to do anything. You have to pick one. What is your thing, right? Maybe you're the one who speaks to camera. Maybe you're the one who does write, and LinkedIn is your channel, and you are a thought leader. You're not a content creator, right? You're not a real estate broker. You're not a contractor. You're the person that people go for industry awareness, because you like to take news, throw it into ChatGPT, get 5 speaking bites. You do that every day at 9 a.m. and you put your favorite song behind it, and there's consistency to that process. And so that consistency then builds up that brand awareness. And then the third pillar is amplification, or what I like to say, which is shouting it from the mountaintop, which I actually stole from Anchorman, right? And Ron Burgundy, when he's stuck, he's like, I love her and I want to scream it from the mountaintop. And I was like, that's success begets success. Yeah. No one other than your mom, cares that you did that deal or that you won. And so how do you tell people that you're winning in a humble way so that they want to work with you and experience the same type of win? It's in sales, right? Especially in sales, or really in anything. And that's the process. And then obviously there's a lot of work that goes into it. But that's how you build brand for person or product, high level.
Yeah. Let's go, I don't go deep, but can you talk about how you've used the last phase in regards to amplification to just ensure that your brokerage stays on the cutting edge of the industry and stays top of mind with people who are interested in your services?
Sure. I guess if I start top of funnel, because I look at our business as a flywheel, okay? We are content to community to commerce for real estate. So top of funnel, we have studios.
Can we pause for a second? You sound like a marketer. Because I interviewed Gary Vaynerchuk recently for the series show.
A marketer.
But when did you become a marketer? That's what I'm weird. Because hand model marketer, when did that happen?
Honestly, I am.
The reason why I'm asking people that are listening right now, they're like, okay, how's this guy know these things? How did he get there?
Trial by fire. My income is directly tied to my success. There's no base salary in this business. I have no benefits. I can make as much as I want and no one will stop me. I can also go into pure bankruptcy and no one will care. And that is the deal that I made with myself. And so every job is sales, whether you're in software, candy, apparel, or real estate. If no one buys what you're creating, then you just created it for your mom, right? And so I had to learn the process of marketing through trial by fire, by having properties and by putting myself out there and learning what works and learning what doesn't work. And I think that, I was an English major in a writing intensive school. And I think one of my secret sauces was, life goes by real fast. And if you don't take a look around every once in a while and stop and write it down, to edit the Ferris Bueller line.
I was going to say, sounds like you're stealing this.
Yeah. No, you could miss it, right? So that's the end of Ferris Bueller, right? Yeah. And so, but you can miss it. And so really paying attention to my tracker, that's why I felt that way. That's why that deal went through. This is book 3. Book 1, so Serhant, is literally my notes for 10 years of the deals that worked and the deals that didn't, and what I learned from them, because I wrote them down.
Yeah.
And I learned, my job as an entrepreneur is to find business, keep business, do business. Finder, keeper, doer, FKD, get fucked every day. I'm going to use that. I'm going to put that into my agent Bible. And then I follow up, follow through, and follow back with business. 3 Fs. I can remember that. I'm going to use that, put it into my agent Bible. And that then turned into the TV show, Sell It Like Serhant, so on and so forth. So I think I'm a product of my environment,
I feel like you created your environment through daily progress and intentionality.
Yeah, man. I just want to win, and I think it was really, really hard for me when I first got here, because I moved to New York in 2006 and my parents did not agree with it and said, we're not going to help. And so figure it out. If you want to do this, you do it, which I don't know how they did that, because I can't. I have a daughter now, and I can't imagine her moving to New York and living in the apartment that I lived in, and me being figure it out, daughter. Yeah. And that's exactly what my dad did. Yeah. And it was the worst. And it was really, really, really scary, right? For a couple years there. And I'll never forget what that felt like, because I know that I can always go back to that place, but I also run away from it as much as I possibly can. And then when I got into real estate, man, I'm not from New York. I'm not overly religious. I'm not from these schools. Like I had no connections. Like I was at the bottom of the totem pole. There's 80,000 real estate agents here and I was 80,001. And so I think there's a little bit of like, I was very aware of how far at the end of the pack I was placed and the way other people treated me and the bullies that existed in this industry, that I was like, if I ever crawl out of this, I'm going to win so fucking hard. And I'm going to take as many people with me who are willing to show everybody else that you can do it a different way and you don't have to do it how they do it.
Yeah. Well, that part of your plan is working. So when you mentioned like think about your deals, what worked, what didn't work, and then like analyzing the common thread to see how you can create the structure around your 3Fs.
Yeah.
It reminds me of something that people would do today with ChatGPT and be done in 3 minutes. But you're really willing to actually put in the work, which I appreciate. But in regards to AI, it's going to lead me to my next question. Like, how do you think AI and automation will influence or transform the future of real estate in regards to lead generation or even closing deals?
Sure. Yeah, I think artificial intelligence is a tool. I'm not like a guy to be talking about it, but I do liken it to the printing press, which democratized information, the combustible engine, which kind of democratized like work, right? It took the ox out of the picture and gave everyone a tractor. And now you have, the democratization of tasks. And so, I looked at all of our competitors who have way more money than me, and I watched and said, okay, AI now is a thing, right? We tried the virtual metaverses. We all became, we all had the goggles on. Let's see what happened there. Everyone was buying NFTs and JPEG monkeys, see what happened there. All right, let's see what happens with AI. And everyone created chatbots. And I was like, no, there must be a better way. Like process data, vector databases, function calling. Like there must be a different way that people can use AI. And all of our competitors to this day, as I talk, are creating chatbots for the customer. And I'm like, dude, I'm the customer. I don't want a chatbot. Like I want support. Maybe the way AI will affect the real estate industry is not making the customer better, but it's making the customer support better. And maybe I'll use AI for the least sexy part of my business, and I'll be able to kind of take human support with SaaS automation and create the best support stack out there. And that's what we did. And we created Simple. And it's what we all use now. And it replaces administrative tasks. It takes 80% of a person's day and does it for them, for salespeople, which like no chatbot is going to do, and we built a stack that was really wild to do. And we have like engineers now and this whole process, and built up this technology company. And it's been super fun to watch it work as we become a first mover in AI for real estate.
I think one thing you're doing well though is like, sure, using AI, for an advantage, but you're still extremely authentic in the way that you present yourself, your brand online, and, even right now in this interaction. And I saw this video of you on Instagram where you're saying like something like, hey, Happy New Year, whatever. And you threw a snowball and you like hit your blogger. And I thought that was hilarious. How do you maintain that authenticity with your content? Because it's like every day, you're putting out amazing content. Like, how does that happen?
I think that most people are not afraid of failure. I think most people are afraid of being embarrassed. And I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, you just can't care. No one cares. That's like that core identity exercise for building a brand is amazing, because if you do it with a handful of people that know you, but that aren't your best friend because they're not going to be biased, you'll realize that no one is focused on the things in you that you're focused on. Yeah. No one is, because they're so focused on themselves, because we all have this spotlight effect. So who cares? And the benefit of it being so hard to get attention today is that you can make mistakes. You're gonna fail. You can throw snowballs at whoever, it doesn't matter, right? As long as you're a good person and you work really, really, really hard and you keep blinders on so that you're too busy to fail, like it's the greatest time to be alive in the history of the universe.
I agree with you, but here's my frustration. There are good people out there that work really, really hard, but they struggle to tell their personal stories online. And as a result of that, their best perspectives, ideas, their thoughts, they stay trapped inside them. And that's not good for the world. So what would you say to someone who's like just struggling to get their story out? Maybe they're afraid, they want to get embarrassed. Like, what would you say to them to just pull that out of them finally?
Take an improv class. Find an improv acting teacher and take an improv class and get out of your own skin, right? Be comfortable with the fact that you can get outside your own shadow and do those games. Well, that's what I did as a little kid, and I think it really, really helped me because I was pretty insecure and shy and an introvert as well, and moved around a lot and everything. And I think if you can, in front of a group of people you don't know, pretend that you're on Mars walking your dog while on fire, running to try to find a shower while eating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, like you can talk to a stranger about real estate. You can talk to your phone about your day, you know? And I think it can be really, really, really helpful. I've told a lot of people to go do that, and it's wild, more than therapy. It's wild to see how that changes people's lives because it is so scary until you realize no one cares. No one cares.
That's the benefit of living in New York City. Like literally nobody cares. Like you can do whatever you want walking down the street in Soho, and people are just like, I'm just going to get coffee, do whatever you want. And it's liberating.
Yeah. I mean, it's liberating and it's lonely.
Yeah.
Because no one cares.
No, you're right.
You get hits like, what was that video of that person lit on fire in the subway?
Oh, yeah.
And the video was people just walking by. Like, she looks warm.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah. So I think, again, going back to you, that level of mindfulness, empathy, altruism, it's admirable. Because to your point, in a city like New York, like not everyone has that.
Yeah.
And I think that's most likely, or one reason why you built your brand is actually caring about people and saying the information I'm putting out, you're actually listening to it and there's going to be an impact from it. And I don't want to haphazardly say something that's going to hurt people. So I appreciate that. And almost along those lines, I mean, sure, a lot of entrepreneurs want to build their personal brand, but what about leaders of organizations, CEOs, so on and so forth? Like, why do you think it's important for them to build their brand? And again, like there's this challenge where it's like, okay, I'm building my brand, but I work for this company. So how can I build a personal brand when I work for X company? How can they kind of ride both those avatars and still put out quality content?
So leaders, I think, and again, do whatever you want. If your company's crushing it and you're hitting all your goals and you can be totally quiet and private, all the power to you. I don't have that option, right? As a marketer and as a salesperson. I think companies, for the most part, are the people. And I think today versus yesterday, kind of that attention conversation we were having, there's a difference in the process to building companies now. We were just talking about this the other day. Like it used to be that everyone said, oh, you got to solve a problem to have a company. What's the problem I'm solving? Today, I think you don't actually understand what that problem is until you've solved it later in hindsight. You look back and say, oh man, that's the problem I solved. Interesting, right? What you focus on today is you focus on the purpose. You're not focusing on the problem. You're not focusing on the people or the product yet. Like, well, the purpose, what's going to get you up every single day? What is that purpose? And that purpose oftentimes comes from people who have strong brands, who are loud, who want to put themselves out there and build companies, okay? Once you have the purpose that you're all aligned on, okay, that purpose then will help you find the right people that are going to align themselves with that purpose, right? And then when you have the right people, you can make any product. So here we sell real estate, we do residential, we do consulting, we do commercial, we do new construction, we do education, we do media, and so on and so forth, because we're all aligned on one purpose. That purpose is then attached to the right people. And then we have products that kind of come out of that purpose oak tree, right? Those products end up being our branches. And if we're lucky, those branches will have leaves, and those leaves are profits, so that you can reinvest and build and build and build a bigger tree, or go and build a forest. I think for people in the company, right, you just have to determine, how do I make myself invaluable? How do I solve everyone else's problems here? Because as an employee, I know what the problems are. Right? How do I become my boss's best conversation? How do I take initiative? How do I use the momentum of the company to help them do things? I tell this to everyone too. I'm like, you want to get from here to there, be the role before you are the role. And that'll be your brand. Your brand will be that you're a doer, right? And that you're not just like a task creator. You know, a lot of people like to delegate work. Do the work and find that path forward to be the next part. And then the business will say, well, we can't live without you. So yes. And they're going to give you that raise or give you that promotion or talk about you at the company, because your brand as the person who is the role before they are the role is so much stronger than it ever was before.
It's funny, you really are a master storyteller, because when you're talking about like the oak in like the forest, I saw it all. Like, so thank you for that divot portrayal.
You're welcome.
Look, I know you get interviewed all the time. So this next question is going to be either really easy or really hard. We'll see. So the question is this: What is a question that almost nobody ever asks you, but they should because your response will be so valuable?
I don't know.
So it's hard.
I don't know. What's a question no one ever asks me? Oh yeah, I guess sure. So along those lines, I never think about it because it comes relatively pretty natural to me. But like, I take the TV shows and all the social and all that stuff, right? Even the layout of all these things on the wall. Yeah. Like, I think people might think that I'm just like talent, but I think I'm producer first.
Yeah.
Like, I executive produce in my brain. Like, I find the songs and the trends. I send him at 4 a.m. knowing that he's not going to check them for 6 hours, right? Let him know when he wakes up and he's nice and comfy. And then I'm ready to go. Even for our show, like there will be a scene in season 2 of Owning Manhattan that is in this room, right? The scene happened in real time. It's this. And then I told them, I was like, you know what? I've never seen in a reality TV show, we get into a scene with a wraparound drone moment. I have a building. Why don't we go get Skylar downstairs in studios, throw him up on the roof. I know it's cold. And let's get us walking in with drone happening. And you're going to use like the theme music that we have in that show to really ramp in and get people to just pay attention and not be watching TikTok, right? And do that. And we did it 6 times to make sure that it was perfect. And it would be in there. And when you watch that scene, you'll know like, oh, yeah, that's when Ryan was psycho talking about like he wanted that perfect drone shot, because the aesthetics tell the story almost more than the words and the people. And it's important, right, to pay attention to the details.
Well, you're clearly doing that. And again, I think that's a function of your mindfulness. But Ryan, thank you very much for your time. This was very valuable, not just for our listeners, but for me as well. So I want to personally say thank you. And I do appreciate you.
Thanks, guy.
Awesome.